Hey guys, we got a great Saints Happy Hour daily show for you. We are going to preview Saints Bucks, and Kevin, I'm going to explain why Dennis Allen's offensive philosophy is like my son playing Mario Kart 8. Thomas, hit that intro.
Welcome to the award-winning Saints Happy Hour podcast. Seriously, this podcast has won awards. American standards are dropping every day. The show features Ralph, the best host in the world, who can barely pronounce his own name, much less anyone else's.
Marcus Callaway.
Dave is that dude who loves taking bathroom breaks. He's mad about almost anything, so make sure to lower your volume when he speaks.
Put that freaking clown meme back up that I made. Jesus Christ.
Andrew has sources, watches tapes, and knows football. He rarely shows up on time and wants to commit crimes to help the Saints win.
Sean Payton would have done illegal things. Don't tell me I'm wrong, because you know it's true.
Oh, and there's also Kevin, who is great at doing mock drafts, but struggles to actually watch Saints games or have a functioning relationship.
Budrich wants to know how the doctor's doing.
That ended.
Anyway, grab a drink, sit back, and enjoy the insanity.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. As always, we are brought to you by Hard Hide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. I got Kevin with me. It's been a while, Kevin. Your schedule changed, and we haven't been able to have you on the shows as much. So it's great to have you. We got a couple weeks left with the Saints. I mean, you're back to doing the previews.
And a couple weeks before I'm able to return to the big show.
That's
just
right.
In time for the Saints season to end.
Well, the thing is, Kevin, your greatest strengths are built for the offseason. You're our draft guy.
Right.
Without you, the off-season podcast would just be me talking to Thomas every day. And no one wants that. So we're gonna go hardcore Kevin draft aficionado in the off-season. It's gonna be amazing. So listen, the Saints, Kevin, they're playing Tampa.
Yep.
They're not eliminated yet. They're 7-8. Tampa's 8-7. I've said it a bunch of times. It is hilarious and depressing that all Tampa had to do to take the NFC South by the throat was be competent for a month. That's all Tampa had to do.
Well, they won 4 in a row. I mean, they were dead to rights.
They were dead to rights.
We all had them written off.
That's right. And they won 4 in a row. And it wasn't even like they beat Carolina, who's terrible, Atlanta, who's the same as the Saints. They beat a Packers team that their defense is so bad, they made Tommy DeVito a star for a week. And they beat Jacksonville, whose quarterback was concussed. They're missing 3 receivers and 3 offensive linemen. But full credit, Tampa did it. No one else in the South could.
You can only play what's on the schedule. You can only play who's on the field against you. You are your record. As Bill Parcells used to say.
And listen, Tampa, for all the crap that, Todd Bowles got for being a terrible coach and all this, I realized it when they kicked the Saints in the head week 4. I said, I think Todd Bowles, he made the bold coaching decisions that no one else in the South would do. Last year, Tampa went 8-9. They were kind of terrible. Tom Brady retired again. And Todd Bowles looked around and was like, I got to nuke this offensive staff. It's terrible. He got rid of Byron Leftwich, who went from a hot coaching candidate to terrible, but he revamped the whole staff. And Tampa's offense, it isn't great, but that guy they got, Cannell from Seattle, he's getting maximum production out of Baker. Throw to Mike Evans, throw to Godwin. They can't run the ball, but Todd Bowles did all the hard stuff and it worked out.
Right.
And Tampa, unlike the Saints, unlike Atlanta, they didn't go all in. They're we're going to take our medicine. We're going to take our $80 million dead money hit. We're not going to break the Tom Brady cap hit into 2 years. We're going to do it all now. And they're in position, they're going to feel really good if they finish off winning the South.
I think they're going to feel good whether they win the South or not. You just said, they took the 80 million. They're taking they're taking an $80 million cap hit right now. And the fact that they've managed to come back this late in the season and lead the division, even if they don't win, the fact that they got themselves up off the mat.
Yeah, I mean,
and we're in position and are in position to win the division. Going into the offseason, they're now like they're playing with house money right now.
They lose at home to the Saints and on the road to Carolina and don't win the South, though. It may change the calculus.
Well, yeah, that's okay. We'll jump off that bridge when we come to it.
Well, that's my point, though. That, you know, the mood around DA is he staying? Is he going? And my thing is, listen, I think right now the Saints are looking for reasons to keep him. So these last 2 games, I really think unless the Saints let go of the rope and get blown out, I think DA is staying. And
you had a nightmare scenario on Twitter that you posted the other day. What was that?
Well, the night it's not so much the nightmare scenario. It is. It's the scenario where no one's happy in that the Saints go 9-8 but don't make the playoffs. So the fired DA people aren't happy, and the let's win and go to the playoff people aren't happy because you don't get playoffs, you don't get DA fired. But the nightmare scenario is they keep DA and they're like, DA, you got to make staff changes. You got to do something on the staff. And DA, as a lame duck coach, is not going to get the cream of the crop offensive coordinators, like the young guy, the guy who gets Sean McVay coffee, whoever that is. Like, right. he ain't coming to DA. Like, DA is going to get like a retread. The nightmare scenario is Saints offensive coordinator John Gruden. The wheels fall off in 2024, and by Halloween, it's interim coach John Gruden. That's the nightmare scenario.
I'll tell you what. That would be serious soul searching time for me and probably for some of the fan base.
It would be
and look, I'm not making the declarations that I did when the team was flirting with signing Adrian Peterson, where I was like guaranteeing I would stop watching. I'm just saying, if John Gruden gets on the staff, self-examination is going to happen. If he becomes head coach, more self-examination is going to happen.
You know what? It has to. You know why it's self-examination? You know, and my thing is, I think you can solve the problem by just. He doesn't get an @Saints email. All John Gruden correspondence has to be done from a phone booth on airline and a beeper. And I think you'll be okay for any future John Gruden horrible emails. So I think you can solve the future problem. But the problem with it is it's gross. And Kevin, it's just like, we're bringing John Gruden in to fix this. Like, say it out loud. It's gross and kind of terrible and kind of sad all at once. So that was my nightmare. That was my nightmare scenario. But I think we're leaning towards. I really do think we're trending towards, Kevin.
Another 8-9.
Oh no, I mean, we'll see. I just think we're trending towards DA staying and like a retread offensive coordinator. Like whoever you think that John Gruden would do it because he's desperate to get back in the league. Greg Roman, Ken Dorsey.
Get Ken Dorsey. Ken Dorsey.
I wouldn't mind. Like Ken Dorsey, I think Ken Dorsey kind of got thrown under the bus and he didn't deserve it in Buffalo. Like Buffalo, all their advantage.
Yeah, and so that means he's going to have a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
He's going to be in fuck you mode. So absolutely bring the guy in. I don't care how angry he gets in the booth. I think it would be hilarious. They keep cutting to him every time Derek Carr overthrows somebody or underthrows somebody or throws a check down pass on 3rd and 7 for 2 yards. I think it would be great to cut to Ken Dorsey absolutely losing his sugar in the booth.
We could just get Ken Dorsey like a stress ball, like to throw in the booth so he doesn't hurt people or break stuff. I'd be for it. So we got this game Sunday, Kevin. What do we want from this game? Like, what do we want? Like, because
no penalties, no penalties. Because so, I was doing some research on this one, and I found out that the officiating crew.
Oh no! Here we go.
Throws out the second most penalties of any ref crew in the league.
Flag. So we're getting a flag show.
We're getting a flag show.
Oh, we're getting. That's what I love to watch.
Referee,
meaningless.
Referee Land Clark. That's his name.
That sounds
Land
like
Clark.
That sounds like
all these people wanting to make fun of people wanting to make fun of like Gen Y people, like naming their kids like Apple or Brooklyn or Toast or whatever. You got a group of boomers that name their kid Land. Like, no. So his crew's been averaging 13 penalties per game.
I can't wait.
And like the stuff I'm looking at, they are very high on offensive holding calls.
That's bad for the Saints.
They've given 106 penalties to visitors and 89 to the home team. So that's going to be a problem for the Saints on the road. The Saints and the Bucs are both averaging 6 penalties per game. Saints slightly under, Bucs slightly over. So that's going to be a wash, but it'll probably be more than 6 with this crew. So now you're looking at, will the offense even be able to get into a rhythm?
No.
On top of, Kamara is up and down, Carr is up and down. And then you get the offensive line getting called for holding or things like that.
Here's the thing with the Saints offense. It hasn't evolved. It hasn't changed, Kevin, from the first week. The Saints' entire offense is shot plays and vibes. That's what they did against Tennessee. Remember? They hit Rashid Shaheed for the game-clinching first down. They did it to the next. Like, that's how they did it against the Rams. It was Shaheed with the bomb, a big play to A.T. Perry. Like, the Saints' offense, Pete Carmichael, he doesn't really so much have a plan. It almost feels like he just calls plays. It's like playing battle. It's like playing Battleship.
Tremendous.
Like A12.
Miss.
7B6.
Miss.
G9. Hit. Oh,
hit.
Shit. Yeah.
Right.
And
you hit whatever, and the thing you hit is the little 2-peg gimmick. I don't know what they call I don't think it's a destroyer. Whatever it looks like a patrol boat, like whatever the 2-peg one is.
PT 109 Kennedy patrol boat, right? So, but that gives me. I want to go back to when we were talking about the Saints, the doomsday scenario, and the offensive coordinator. It got me to thinking. My son. He got Mario Kart 8 from Santa, and Mario Kart. It's just Mario Kart is amazing. Like, it's perfect. You get the steering. You get the steering wheel. I can play even though I'm crippled.
You got a wheel?
I got the wheel, even though I'm crippled with one hand.
Yeah, I was about to say, how are you doing with the wheel with the arm?
The wheel is great because you just use the triggers, and the wheel sort of gives me stability on my thumb in my left hand that I didn't expect. So I'm down on the Mario Kart. But my son, I feel like my son, he and Dennis Allen are very similar, where my son's philosophy on Mario Kart and DA's philosophy on offense are the same. They don't know what they want. Like, when you do Mario Kart, you got to pick like acceleration and speed and handling and weight and traction on the tires, right? And my son, like, he can't decide. He's like, do I want speed? Do I want acceleration? Do I want weight? Do I want to be able to have Bowser with the giant car and I can bump people? Like, it takes him like 5-8 minutes to decide like what car he wants because he doesn't know what he wants. And I feel like DA is the same. Like, he doesn't know what he wants on offense. So he asked DA to describe his team. He couldn't even describe it, right? Like me, I know when I do Mario Kart, Kevin, acceleration and handling, because I'm crippled. I need extra handling and I need acceleration. That's what I do. That's who I am. I get Bowser behind the wheel of the moped and we rock. Simple, straight ahead. And so I don't think go ahead.
I've got a recommendation for your son and for DA. This is what he needs to do. He needs to myself, my older brother, my younger brother, we did this when we were playing what was it, Bill Walsh college football. It was like NCAA football 95 or 96 on the Sega. Right. We had a thing where you turn your back to the TV and you hold down on the thing and you scroll and you're selecting a team and you let it go. You turn around and you see what you have. If you don't like that option, you get to do it one more time. But then you have to take whatever it lands on. I would try that. I would try and get Max to do that if he's so indecisive. I would tell DA to do the same thing and just have it on an iPad where it just cycles through a bunch of plays until he can just let the button go.
I thought you were going to do like
lands.
offensive coordinators. I thought you were going to say like cycle. You have like Ken Dorsey, Greg Roman. Scott,
well, you said plays. You said plays.
Plays. Yeah, that's right.
I'm fine if he wants to do that with potential OC hires.
I just feel like the Saints, they have no identity on offense. They have none because they don't do anything really well. They just throw bombs and hope. This game Sunday, Kevin, is really interesting because Tampa and the Saints both are dreadful at running the ball.
Yeah.
Although Tampa's been better a little bit lately, and their offensive line is kind of coming together. If I said to you, what's the one thing like the Saints, like besides the penalty issue, like what's the one thing the Saints have got to do to have a chance to win this game Sunday? Tampa's a 3.5-point favorite, by the way.
So
if you're so inclined to gamble.
God, I'm looking at three different things, and I'm trying to decide which one I want to pick. I'll make it about the offense instead of the defense. So when they played the Bucs earlier in the season, Alvin Kamara had 24 touches for a total of 84 yards.
Wow.
So he had 11 carries for 51 yards, which, that's okay. And then he had 13 catches for 33 yards.
How is that even possible?
Right.
How is that even possible?
That was more than half of the rest of the he had more catches than the rest of the team combined. He tied for second most yards with Rashid Shaheed, who only had 3 catches for 33 yards. So what do they need to do? Stop, either if you're going to do those Kamara passes, he's got to get more yardage, which means you got to be able to block downfield or he's got to get free, or you've got to stop doing that shit.
Yeah.
You've got to stop doing that.
It feels like they don't like with when Sean Payton was here, obviously, it feels like, and with Drew Brees, Kamara caught passes, but he was catching like routes. Like it would be like a little wheel route, a little angle route, and it would catch him. It would be in space. Now I feel like it seems like almost every Kamara catch is Derek Carr being like, oh, crap, no one's open. I'll throw it to Kamara. And he's 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage surrounded by 4 guys.
Right. It's like, all right, dance, kid. Can you dance your way to a first down? The answer is no.
The answer is no.
Dance, Spider.
Good.
So the Bucs. Hang on a second. Wait a minute. No, that's not right. Yeesh. The Bucs have the third. That can't be right. I'll be damned. The Bucs have the worst rushing attack in the league. They're third worst. They are 30th in yard, yeah. They're third worst in total rushing yards. They are dead last in yards per carry at 3.4. But guess who is second worst in yards per carry?
The Saints.
Your New Orleans Saints.
And the Saints are actually worse if you take out Taysom Hill. If you take out Taysom runs, the Saints are worse.
Yup.
So but here's the thing with the Saints. Like, if they couldn't do it the first game, and the first game is weird because Derek Carr, he had got injured against Green Bay, and it was first game after he had hurt his shoulder. Even though he didn't miss time, he probably shouldn't have played that game. Here's the thing with Tampa. Like, their secondary is bad. They're not going to have Carlton Davis. He's out with a concussion. Like, if the Saints can block him up, they can do business against the Tampa secondary. Now, Tampa's kind of averaging points, 21.74. So, but I think the Saints can score and move the ball if they can block the Tampa front, which isn't as good as it had been the last couple of years. Because Tampa's kind of in the same boat as the Saints personnel-wise. They won with Brady those 2 years, but that core that they got Tom Brady with him was like, hey, we'll get rid of Jameis. We'll bring in Tom Brady. We can win a Super Bowl. That's Super Bowl for Tampa. 2020's kind of far away. Their core on defense is getting old too. The Shaq Barrett's, the Devin White's, they ain't young either. So I don't subscribe to this notion that Tampa's going to dump truck the Saints because they're well, they're 8-7 and the Rams are 8-7 and the Saints went to LA and got destroyed. Here's the thing, Baker is not Stafford and Bowles, he ain't Sean McVay. So right. I don't necessarily the Rams had a distinct quarterback and coaching advantage on Thursday. Yeah. I don't think Tampa has that. So I think this game is going to be the same old Saints. They'll probably start crappy, fight their way back, and it'll probably be a one-score game if the season goes like that. I said all along, the Saints, it's practically a meaningless game. The Saints are going to look as good as they've looked in the last 2 years. I think the Saints are going to win. They're going to boat race Tampa just because it's the Saints, and that's what they do. This whole season has been nothing but frustration for us, Kevin. And what would add to the frustration more? Not the Saints losing, because they haven't been good all year. No, adding to the frustration would be the Saints looking great and us being, where's this been all year? And why are you doing this now?
Right.
So that's my theory of the Saints in Tampa.
I can't disagree with that. I picked the Saints to lose 24-22, they would go for they would try for a 2-point conversion and miss at near the very end of the game. So I'm sticking with that.
The one thing I want, Kevin, and me and Dave talked about this on the mailbag, but I think your thoughts are good too. The one thing that has made me happy this year, or one of the few things that has made me happy with the Saints, is Jimmy Graham. When they signed Jimmy Graham, we were like, oh, that's fun. They bring Jimmy Graham back. But kind of we all thought, he's going to be old. He's going to be washed. He's probably not going to play much. And if he plays, it's probably going to be sad. But in the preseason, he showed he still kind of had it. And I just think it's been a really nice way for him to end his Saints career in the fact of he's caught a few touchdowns. And at 37, we're like, why aren't you playing him more?
Right.
Dennis Allen, why aren't you playing him more? And it's a nice ending to his Saints career, right? It hasn't been sad. If anything, it's been frustrating. We'd want the Saints to use him more. So the one thing that I want these last
we know that this is the end for him.
Maybe not. I would think so, but the one thing I want is if it's the end, Kevin, I want 2 more Jimmy Graham touchdowns. I don't blowouts, whatever.
Both of them against the Falcons.
Preferably, but if you give me 1 and 1, that's fine too. I just feel I want the Jimmy Graham story in December has been really fun and really nice. I want it to end on a high note. Besides winning and whatever, it doesn't matter for the Saints. I can't control whether they keep Day or not. I want a happy ending for Jimmy Graham.
There's places we can send him for that.
Final thing, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah.
The Saints, beyond all reason and expectations and circumstances in the game, they have not, Kevin, let go of the rope. They refuse. The Saints refuse. 27-7 against the Rams. They've had multiple opportunities in the last 4 or 5 weeks to just say, we're done. We're packing it up. See you next year. And they just refuse to do it. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think the odds are that the Saints get blown out these last 2 games and they, in fact, do finally just be like, screw it. We're letting go of the rope and we're done.
Scale of 1 to 10, you said?
Yeah. 10 2. Being they get absolutely destroyed and they've quit and
2.
It changes the calculus.
2. Because we've seen that we've actively seen in-game strife with the team and Derek Carr.
Yeah, and on defense with Alontae Taylor last week.
And the team still hasn't. The team still hasn't quit. So whether it's they're playing for each other, whether somehow Dennis Allen has them playing tough for him, it doesn't matter. It's like they're still playing tough. So kudos to them. But ultimately, they have to. I'm thinking. My mind's splitting here.
What's it like
in game? It's they have to play tough and be consistent. But I'm now thinking of the offseason, and it's like, okay, good. You've got guys on the team that are still playing and playing hard all 60 minutes. You just need to get more bodies or replace people with guys that are going to bring you more.
Yeah, and I don't think people are like, oh, the players hate DA, they're going to quit on DA, and they haven't. I don't even necessarily think, Kevin, it's that the players have to like DA. I just think the Saints have this core group of DeMario and Cam and Honey Badger and Kamara, and I'll even throw like McCoy into that group. They're just not going to quit. For each other, and they're just not. It's going to sound like it is a cliche, but they're just not going to quit because they're not quitters. Like they're just they just believe I'm an NFL player. I'm paid. I'm with this group of guys in this locker room. We're just going to fight until the end, and that's just what they believe, and that's how they are. And I think year 2 is a little bit high. I think they're going to fight. I think it's like a 1. You know. And to me, like in a weird way, like it's admirable. Like I wouldn't want to be, because here's the thing: if the Saints, if it had all fallen apart, right, and they were just getting blown out in these games, here's the thing: they're stuck with this roster for next year, Kevin. So like if the team has quit on DA, who's going to say that if they got another coach that they didn't like, they would just quit on him too? So like that they haven't quit, at least it gives them something to build on for next year if they make changes or whatever. Right. So I do think to me, it's more of a positive than a negative that the fire DA people say, because I just believe like the Saints culture, even though it's withering and it's falling apart, like there's still something there that keeps them fighting.
Right, but you have to carry. They have to draft. I'm going to tap into my inner Cormac McCarthy here. You have to carry the fire.
Yeah.
You have to carry the fire into the offseason and through the offseason and either through the draft or free agency, keep bringing in people that are going to buy in or that are going to fight and lift this team to a better place. Because you're right, Derek Carr is going to be the quarterback in 2024. Even if the Saints fire DA, Derek Carr is most probably going to be this under center week 1 of 2024. Let's say somehow the Saints lose both games and they're drafted in the top 10. And the teams ahead of them, who all need quarterbacks, all have brain aneurysms and don't take the Heisman-winning quarterback from LSU, and Jaden Daniels falls and the Saints just decide we're taking him. He's not. Jaden Daniels isn't starting.
That's right.
He's not. The Saints have paid entirely too much money to Derek Carr. Now, you can say they're chasing bad money or whatever, or they're pot committed, whatever you want to say. But Derek Carr ain't leaving in 2024. He's not. It's this right after 2024 is the earliest they can cut bait.
That's right. They're locked in.
And look, and if he plays like this, absolutely cut bait. I'm not saying oh, Derek Carr, great, keep him. I'm just acknowledging what reality is.
That's right. They're locked into this entire roster. They can't trade Lattimore. They can't, they're locked in. This roster that they have, they're going to have it next year. Final thing, I promise, and then we're going to get out of here. We have a potential, Kevin, because you have DA versus Todd Bowles. They are not in-game wizards. We have potential in this game, I feel like, for some horrible, horrible in-game clock game management decisions / shenanigans. If I said to you, Kevin, as I wipe my nose, if I said to you, which coach is likely to make an egregious in-game decision to blow the game, would you pick DA or Todd Bowles?
I would pick Todd Bowles because blowing the game requires you to be in the lead. And I don't see Dennis Allen getting in the lead, having his team in the lead until late in the game if that happens. So Todd Bowles.
I like your theory. So guys, thanks for listening. Please support the show. If you found us on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And I should have done this earlier. Thomas, you didn't remind me. Go to saintshappyhour.com, become a patron, support the show. We need it. We need support. We can't do any of this fun stuff without you guys supporting the show. So for Kevin, for Thomas, and back in Poland run this show, I'm Ralph Marlboro. Thanks for joining us. We will see you Sunday after Saints Bucks. Until then, the bar is closed.